Welcome to the Middle School Cafe podcast, where we're serving up fresh strategies and solutions for ELA teachers just like you. Join us as we explore proven methods to bridge the achievement gap and help every student reach their full potential. Whether you're a veteran teacher or just starting out, grab a cup of coffee and a notepad and let's get started. Here's your host, Carolyn Wall.
Hello, everyone. If you are a regular listener to the podcast, you're probably thinking, why is there a new episode this week? Normally, my episodes go live every first and third Tuesday. However, April has an extra Tuesday, so I thought I would drop a bonus episode for you. This week, I want to spend a few minutes talking a little about something that is all too familiar for many educators: teacher burnout. Let's be real. We didn't sign up for this profession thinking it would be easy. We chose teaching because we love working with students, helping them grow, and making a difference. But what happens when that passion starts to feel more like a burden? When exhaustion replaces enthusiasm? When every Sunday night feels like a countdown to a week of stress? I've been there. I've felt the overwhelming pressure of implementing a curriculum I don't believe in, grading stacks of essays, managing ever-increasing classroom behaviors, and trying to be the best me I can be for my family. I've seen colleagues, amazing teachers, walk away from the profession, not because they didn't love teaching, but because they couldn't keep sacrificing their own well-being. So today, we're talking about what burnout really is, how to recognize it, and most importantly, strategies to manage it. Unfortunately, I don't have the magic answer to avoid it. I wish I could say do this or say that, and things would magically get better. Unfortunately, that is not the reality of our world. But what I do hope to do today is add to the conversation, help you make sense of how you are feeling, and offer some advice that might help you whether you're currently struggling or just want to be proactive. First, let's define burnout. Burnout isn't just a bad day or a tough week. It's a prolonged state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. It's the kind of stress that doesn't go away with a good night's sleep or a relaxing weekend. Instead, it lingers, making it harder and harder to function at work and in life. Unlike everyday stress, which comes and goes, burnout is chronic. It makes you feel drained before you even step into the classroom. You might start questioning your effectiveness, feeling like nothing you do is making a difference. It's not just feeling tired, it's feeling disconnected from a job you once loved. Burnout doesn't just appear out of nowhere, it builds slowly over time, and that is why it can be so hard to acknowledge. It can show up in different ways. Let's break it down by looking at 4 ways burnout might show up in your life. First, there may be physical symptoms. You might feel constantly exhausted no matter how much sleep you get. Headaches become more frequent. Your sleep patterns might be all over the place. Either you can't fall asleep or you're waking up in the middle of the night thinking about everything you have to do or replaying old conversations. Your appetite might change too. Some people find themselves eating way more than usual while others barely eat at all. Second, burnout can take an emotional toll. You might start feeling helpless, like no matter what you do, it's never enough. We are constantly being asked, what else can you do? More interventions, more differentiation, more responsibilities, often without additional support. At first, you might shrug it off as just another tough week, but over time, that feeling of helplessness can turn into detachment. You're still showing up, still checking things off your to-do list, but it starts to feel robotic, like you're running on autopilot. The passion that once fueled you feels distant, and then that dangerous question starts creeping in. What's the point? Burnout doesn't just affect your emotions, it impacts your work too. If you find yourself truly dreading work every morning, that's a red flag. Not just the occasional, I wish I could stay home today. Most professionals feel that now and then, but a deep, persistent dread that makes getting up and walking into the school building feel unbearable. Maybe you feel unappreciated, like all the extra effort you put in goes unnoticed. You might notice your patience wearing thin, whether with students, colleagues, or even yourself or family. And those everyday tasks, grading, lesson planning, answering emails, suddenly feel overwhelming, like climbing a mountain that only gets steeper. You might start withdrawing, not because you don't care, but because you just don't have the energy. Maybe you avoid colleagues, skip department meetings, or keep your classroom door shut more often just to get through the day. Procrastination can become a coping mechanism. When the workload feels endless, it's easier to push things off. And for some, burnout leads to unhealthy habits, turning to food, excessive screen time, or other distractions just to get through the day. Does any of this sound familiar? If you're nodding along right now, it may be time to pause and assess your circumstances. Unfortunately, teacher burnout isn't rare, it's an epidemic. A study on teacher retention found that over 40% of teachers consider leaving the profession within their first 5 years. And in some surveys, as many as 75% of teachers report feeling stressed or overwhelmed on a regular basis. This isn't just a personal issue, it's a systemic one. That's why there's no magic fix, no quick solution to make everything better. Across the country, teachers are overworked, underpaid, and expected to perform miracles with limited time and resources. And the result? Passionate, skilled educators are leaving the profession at alarming rates. The truth is, the expectations never stop. We're expected to be available, adaptable, and always improving. And when there's no time during the school day to prep, we take it home. Evenings, weekends, and even supposed breaks become work time. Here's the thing. We already know what's causing burnout. Many of us feel it every day. The real question is, what can we do about it? How can we reclaim our time, set boundaries, and find ways to love teaching again without sacrificing ourselves in the process? That's what I want to focus on here in the next few minutes. Real, actionable strategies that help you manage the workload without letting it consume you. I want to be clear, burnout isn't something you can fix overnight, but small, intentional changes can make a huge difference over time. Let's talk about 3 key areas that can help: managing time and workload, building emotional resilience, and setting boundaries for work-life balance, or as close to balance as we can get it. One of the biggest causes of burnout is feeling like there's just too much to do and not enough time to do it. And while we can't magically add more hours to the day, we can get smarter about how we use the time we have. Get used to prioritizing tasks. Not everything is urgent. Not everything has to be done right now. It's easy to get caught up in the mindset that every email, every worksheet, every lesson has to be perfect, but that's not sustainable. I can't imagine any teacher telling a student that everything they do has to be perfect, yet we put that pressure on ourselves. One strategy that really helps me is making lists. Not just a to-do list, an intentional list that helps me focus on what needs to be done and keeps track of deadlines. It's nothing formal like a specific notepad or anything, it's just a number system. When I write out my list, I assign it a number 1 through 4. 1 are things I need to do today. These are the things that truly need to be done right away. Things like making a parent phone call, making copies, or updating grades. 2 are things that must be done this week. These are tasks that I need to do and need to make time for, but I don't need to drop everything to complete. 3 are things that are important but not urgent. Tasks that might feel pressing but don't actually require your attention right away. Maybe you have a district deadline for goals or you want to change a bulletin board. And 4 are the things I want to do, tasks that can be eliminated or put on the back burner. Usually things that I'll do when I need a brain break, like washing desks or straightening the bookshelves, or something fun like reading the next class novel or short story. Using a system like this helps me focus and avoid getting overwhelmed when I only have a few minutes here and there to complete tasks. It helps with decision fatigue because I can simply pick a task off my list. My list is fluid and ever-changing. It is often not very pretty and can sometimes just be a sticky note on my desk. I know what the numbers mean and I can easily change them if I need to. Another key to preventing burnout is emotional resilience, having the tools and support to handle the stress that comes with teaching. Find your support system. This is huge. While teachers all have a shared experience, it can feel isolating, but you do not have to go through it alone. Find colleagues you trust, whether in your school, in another district, or even in an online teacher community like this one. Having people who get it, who you can vent to, celebrate with, brainstorm with, and lean on makes all the difference. And if you don't feel comfortable opening up to coworkers, that's okay too. Maybe your support system is outside of school. friends, family, or even a mentor who understands the challenges of teaching. The point is, you need people who remind you that you're not in this alone. Having a strong support system is only part of the equation. The other part, protecting your own time and energy. Because even with the best support, if you're constantly overextending yourself, burnout will still creep in. That's why boundaries are so important. And I know this is where a lot of teachers struggle, because the culture of education often makes us feel like we should be working all the time. But let me say this loud and clear. You are allowed to have a life outside of school. I wish I had learned this earlier in my career. There was a time I taught all day long, ran our student government after school, coached volleyball and cheerleading, and also took evening classes for my master's. Looking back at that time in my life, that was crazy. Yet I felt it was normal, and really no one except my family batted an eye at how much I was putting into my job. It took its toll on me, and in some ways I'm still recovering from that time. I'd like to say it was only a year or two, but that heavy of schedule went on for years. That's why I want to encourage you to set boundaries before burnout forces you to. Set a work cutoff time. Decide when your workday ends and stick to it. Maybe you stop checking emails after 6 p.m. Maybe you give yourself a grading-free weekend once a month. Whatever it is, be intentional about creating time for your life. And I get it. There will always be more to do. The reality is, the work will never be done. There will always be more emails, more papers to grade, more lessons to tweak, one more student to reach out to. This is where my prioritized to-do list has really helped me. Be sure you make time for yourself. Teaching is a big part of your life, but it shouldn't be all of your life. I'm not talking about getting a coffee or pedicure. I'm asking you to think about what brings you joy outside of work. Maybe it's reading, painting, running, gardening, or spending time with your family. Whatever it is, make space for it. Add it to your to-do list if you have to so that you'll schedule it. When we neglect the things that bring us joy outside of teaching, burnout hits even harder. And finally, practice mindfulness. This doesn't have to be complicated. Just 5 minutes of deep breathing, a short meditation, or even a simple walk outside can help reset your stress levels. If mindfulness isn't your thing, find something that helps you unwind, whether it's journaling, listening to music, or even just sitting in silence for a few minutes at the end of the day. The goal here isn't to magically eliminate stress. It's to make sure that stress isn't running your life. Before I wrap up, I want to acknowledge that sometimes, even when we put in our best efforts to manage or avoid burnout, we recognize that teaching no longer feels sustainable. And that's okay. If you feel that you've reached the end of your rope and decide to leave the classroom, that's okay. I want to be really clear about this. Leaving the classroom is not failure. It's not giving up. It's recognizing your needs and making a decision that prioritizes your well-being. If today's message is resonating with you, I want you to know you have options. Maybe taking a sabbatical or a leave of absence could give you the time and space to reset. Maybe you simply need to move buildings or change districts. Maybe there's another role in education, a different grade level, an instructional coach position, curriculum writing that would be a better fit for you right now. Or maybe stepping away from education entirely is what's best for you. Whatever decision you make, your well-being should always come first. Teaching is a calling, but it is not a life sentence. You are allowed to change, grow, and make choices that support you. At the end of the day, we can't pour from an empty cup, and whether you stay in the classroom or move on to something new, you deserve to be happy, healthy, and fulfilled. I know today's episode was different from my usual content, but I felt it was an important conversation to have. I usually share teaching strategies, ideas to engage students, and ways to get them excited about reading. But I also know that none of that matters if we are running on empty. This conversation is just as important. I don't want to gloss over the very real challenges happening in education today. We can't ignore the weight so many teachers are carrying, and we shouldn't feel like we have to just push through without support. Teacher burnout is real, and it's something that so many of us experience but don't always talk about openly. As we begin to think about plans for next year, I hope this episode has given you something to reflect on, whether it's setting better boundaries, finding a stronger support system, or even reassessing what you need in order to feel fulfilled. If today's episode spoke to you, I encourage you to share it with another teacher who might be feeling the same way. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone can make all the difference. I'll be back next week with my regular First Tuesday episode, but until then, I want to leave you with this reminder: you matter. Your well-being isn't just important, it's essential. No matter where you are in your teaching journey, you deserve to feel valued, supported, and at peace with the work you do. Thanks for spending this extra episode with me. Until next time. Thanks for joining me today. As a reminder, a new episode drops every first and third Tuesday, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Be sure to visit middleschoolcafe.com to find links to everything mentioned in today's show. Until next time.